Hi everybody, this is my Module 12 case study for EDL 854. First, I wanted to provide a brief outline with the format of my presentation. Not only does that help me to lay everything out, but I also hope that it's going to provide you with a roadmap as well. So first, I'm going to start off with a case and facts, and then moving on to any legal or ethical issues. Stating what has happened, review the facts, go over information. I want to talk about the options and then the pros and cons of the options that I've come up with. I'm going to move on to the questions, and then I want to let you know my choice and then how it is how my assignment is aligned to the standard presented for us. So first we have section 1, the case and facts. So first we have Briardale Foundation, which is kind of like a form of a booster club in my eyes. We have Mr. Barley, who is the president of this foundation. This would be his first year taking the president role. We have myself, Mr. Santos, the principal, and then we have the community members that were present at the raffle who got a witness of what happened. So this event was very public, and it is going to and already has received a lot of attention. Mr. Barley was arrested before the raffle could begin. There has not really been a lot of commentary noted on the incident of the case presented, just that we know that it's been getting a lot of public attention because it was posted in our paper. And then again, lots of community members were there to witness it as well. I want to move on and talk to you about the legal and or ethical issues, if any, took place. So the first question is, has anyone been harmed by the action or the decision of another? And if so, in what way? So yes, there definitely could be harm, and I think that there has been harm done, not only to the reputation of the Briardale Foundation, but to Mr. Santos and Mr. Barley as well. There is also harm in a way that could be detrimental to the foundation's ability to raise funds for the curriculum purchases for the remainder of the year and for however many years forward. The Briardale Foundation is harmed due to its ability to be successful with this fundraiser and any future fundraising options, because people are going to remember this specific incident and they could be leery to partake in it again. The second question is, does the action or situation contravene an existing law? So yes, there actually is a law being broke. So first of all, the raffle event must be headed by a non-for-profit organization committee that is headed by an administrator. So Mr. Barley couldn't have just been the only person in charge. And also the Briardale School District, we as a district would need to apply and be granted a charity raffle license for our school year in order to have this specific fundraiser take place. So and then my third question is, was there a breach of contract and were the actions discriminatory or constituted harassment? No and yes. The parties working were following through with what they had planned on doing. However, due to Mr. Barley being the head of the committee and no charitable raffle license, we would be unable to see the raffle to its completion, which would be a breach of contract since there's no follow through with the raffle at this time. And I'm sure a lot of questions are raised. Well, what happens to the money that was raised? Can it be used or does it have to be given back? I want to address ethically that really this is just a bummer that unfortunately the school was made an example of, and the foundation who voted on and agreed to the raffle should have been knowledgeable with the rules for cash raffle laws. The administrators also should have been cognizant of the fundraisers being operated within the district, and the administrator should be aware of all the laws that surround fundraising and making it common practice to keep sponsors and club presidents informed of those laws as well, considering they are part of our district. I do not believe that ethics were really compromised in this situation, as I do not believe that this was done with malicious intent. I think that it was done with the intention to use the dollars raised to benefit Briardale School. I just think this is what happens when you're not aware of the laws within your state. I choose to look on the bright side, I guess. Section 3. Mr. Barley was arrested the night of the Briardale Foundation raffle for a cash event and later convicted of a misdemeanor. I want to go over the facts. So the people involved and affected are myself, Mr. Santos, Mr. Barley, the head of the Briardale Foundation, Briardale Elementary School, Briardale Foundation, community members, the police officer was affected because he's the one who actually made like the arrest, and who knows what kind of backlash he could get from people who are upset about the way that this was handled. Even though we broke a law, things weren't followed, sometimes the arresting officer does catch some heat for that. And then also the people affected are raffle participants, people who donated their money to help this. So we have Briardale Elementary School. It is one of 6 elementary schools in our district. Our district houses 2 middle schools and 1 high school. And Briardale Elementary is actually a dual purpose center. It also serves as the town's community meeting center. And so lots of times when there's big events like this Briardale Foundation raffle would have taken place inside Briardale Elementary School. So we house about 600 students, K through 5. We are a public school. Our district is known for being a winning high school football team. We rely heavily on the basic skills, and we require a lot of parent representation through the schools as the presidents of the foundations, which run fundraisers to purchase supplemental curriculums that help our school. Some information. So first, could the conflict, the situation, or the decision be damaging to stakeholders or to the community? So yes, I do think that this could be damaging to the stakeholders and the community. Fundraising and funds raised through the foundation's fundraisers are important to the school's budget, and they continue to provide those curriculums that we see as beneficial for our students and their education. Question number 2, what individuals and groups have an important stake in the outcome? The individuals that really, I think, come to my mind first would be Mr. Barley, Mr. Morley, and myself. Mr. Morley is a head president of another foundation within our district as well. These groups have an important stake because it's their foundation groups, and this will determine how the fundraisers can be operated in the future, as well as how their group is overseen in the future. And this really just kind of gives us an idea of some different paths that we're going to have to take in the future. Question number 3, have all relevant stakeholders been consulted? So I don't really believe that. So, a lot of our relevant stakeholders might not know the full story and realize what's happening or to what magnitude. While the foundation group still has its ties within the school, this specific incident will need to be brought to the Board of Education's attention, and the superintendent also needs to be aware as well. And we might want to start advising our own legal counsel for advice moving forward. Can I learn more about the situation? Always, yes. I feel like there's always more things that I can learn so I can make decisions from a place of better understanding. I really want to learn more about the situation. I want to know what my role in the past has been with the foundation group. I would like to know what other principals' roles are within their foundation groups and the fundraising opportunities that they allow. I would like to know what our policies say regarding fundraising, and I want to know if these policies have been communicated to the organizations that are ran within our school district. I would like to know if there is a law or school policy about competition between the foundation groups. I noticed that it was important in this case study to note that Mr. Barley felt motivation to be successful and have a successful fundraiser because of his old classmate friend, Mr. Morley, being a president of the foundation at another elementary school within our district. Kind of what I have researched, I didn't find anything that said, you couldn't have a competition or you couldn't be motivated by competition or by winning. At our school, competition is really what drives people, and competition to win the raffle event was probably a motivating factor for the people who are buying the tickets. I just want to make sure that I am up to date on all of the school's policies and the laws regarding that specific stance. Do I know enough to make a decision? I do believe that I am presented with enough information to be making a lot of preliminary decisions about this specific case. And as time goes on, I know that I'm going to need to find out the answers to more of these questions while I'm getting further in and making more decisions. So I want to talk about my options. My very first option is to do nothing. It seems as if the police have this under control. I'm outie. My option number 2, I could immediately begin reviewing our current policies and lobbying for a change. I need more information on what our current school district policies are for fundraising, and I want to review the school district's policies with the superintendent and the Board of Education and the other site principals in order to ensure that each school feels well represented and that we're adopting new policies that are indicative of all the needs within our school district. My third option could be to remove Mr. Barley from Briardale Foundation, and I could act as interim president. And then we could just roll with this until all legal matters have been settled, or until the beginning of the new school year when a new president would be appointed. I would also need to visit with the superintendent of Board of Education and our legal counsel to get some advice on if we refund the participants of the fundraiser or what happens with those funds. I could do away with all foundation groups within the school district. That could be my fourth option. I feel like it's very drastic, but that is something that has to be considered. So my very first option, to do nothing and let law enforcement take care of things. Pros: I get to stay out of it, hands off. I have less surface level stress about it. The cons: I'm not holding our school district accountable. I'm not holding myself accountable. We don't put protection or policies in place if this ever happens again. It could diminish the trust that we have with employees and parent volunteers within our district, and it could diminish the trust that our community members have within us. Option number two, to begin reviewing the policies and lobbying for a change. There's several pros to this. I think our school district as a whole, we can get better and create a better policy. We can implement better protection in place for future fundraising opportunities. We can continue having Briardale foundations and other foundations within our district. Our plan will align with our school vision and the state laws. It's going to help us supplement our budget. It's going to increase knowledge among district staff members and the parent volunteers that we have. And our principals and superintendents get more hands-on, as they're going to have a say in the policy change, as well as Board of Education members. There are some negatives to this. It's going to take a lot of time to review and rewrite the policies. There will be a lot of effort to train and change employees' mindset. And then I want to know, will there be those that are going to be willing to be foundation presidents after something like this has happened? My third option, to remove Mr. Barley from the Briardale Foundation, and I could act as the president. I do not see a lot of pros with this. We'll just be known as a district that does not condone the infringement of a law. And then we're also going to be known that we, as a district that doesn't stand behind its volunteers, even when it could partially fall on our hands as to why this happened to Mr. Barley. There's several cons for this. It makes our district look bad. We might not get others who want to volunteer or be a part of our foundation committees. It's a lot of work for myself, the principal. It would create a lot of stress. By just getting rid of Mr. Barley, we aren't using this as an opportunity to grow, and we're inviting something like this to happen again. And then my very last option would be to do away with all the foundation groups within our school district. I definitely don't think that this is a good solution at all, but it is one that could take place. It would be a quick and easy fix, but it would have long-term damage to our school district. This would also create a divide between the community, parents, and school members. Could this create a negative impact on our school? Could this decrease the positive morale that has been built up within our district? Could the budget cuts impact the school so intensely that it's going to create stress among our staff? And would this be an increase in teacher turnover rates due to budget cuts and feeling stressed? I am going to pause this, and then I will create another video to finish addressing my questions, let you know the option that I have picked, and then ending it with my standard.